Freak Nation, I got to be honest with you. We have a calendar of musicians, drivers, people that are significant in entertainment and motorsports that will get a notice that their birthday's coming up. And last week, I got a notice that our good friend Mario Andretti is having his 85th birthday today or Friday. And I put a call into his PR person, and she got back and says, done. So first of all, Mario Andretti, happy 85th birthday to you, my friend.
I'm still 84. Thank you.
He doesn't want to count, can he?
Well, but look at this. Think about this, Mario. We're celebrating, SpeedFreaks is celebrating our 25th anniversary this year. You're celebrating, I guess, kind of a milestone of eventually getting to 85. If you think about that, you were 60 years old at the time, still driving a freaking race car. Did you even think about 85 when you were 60?
Quite honestly, this is a gift, really, because I'll be realistic. To go through a career with just about 900 races and still walking. So I thank the Lord, and my blessings are here for sure. Just like every time AJ and I see each other, he says, "Man, I can't believe we're still standing." But so you can see that we're the fortunate ones, that were able to live through, those decades when things were not as kind to many of our drivers and our friends. So again, I don't take it for granted.
Well, on the birthday topic, and you brought up AJ, wasn't it your 79th birthday that he gifted you one of his rare vintage wines?
Ooh la la, yes, absolutely. Yeah, he's we've been exchanging things, exchanging nice niceties, it didn't happen, while we were still working.
Well, whose wine? Come on. I'm assuming you drank it. I would assume your wine's better, but you, the Andretti winery, the Foyt winery, or Childress, any compare contrast that you can do there?
Yeah, Andretti is the best. Yeah.
Clearly.
Napa Valley. Yeah, we got, now they're all drinkable.
Oh, that's good.
Mario Andretti, do you still get hungover drinking wine? I try not to. Yeah, I think I need it. A few sips at a time, a couple sips a day, and that's good. That's good for you. Even my daughter, Dr. Barbie, says that she goes along with that. She said, "Yeah, Dad, you can keep doing that."
Okay, hold on a second. Stop the presses. So Dr. Barbie is validating, as long as it's in moderation, wine is good.
Yes.
Thank you, Barbie.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, she's a good doctor.
Again, Freak Nation, Mario Andretti joining us here in the Lucas Oil Studio. So much to talk to him about. You have IndyCar kicking off this weekend. You have Formula One eventually kicking off. But Mario, and I don't want to belabor the point of your birthday, but Crasher was sharing with me, and Crasher, you can get in better detail about this, really, that the fact that we're sitting here 85 years in the making with Mario for a reason.
Yes, I want to see the expression on your face when I say this name, because I believe this name is the reason why your history became what it was, and that we are so fortunate to now celebrate your history. Alberto Ascari.
You got it. You got it. He's the one that I can blame for falling in love with the sport, for sure. Aldo and I, basically at the age of just a young teenager, 11, 12, we just gravitated to the sport. Italy was, as you can imagine, you were with Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, Maserati, involved. They were very prominent in Formula One. So it was everywhere, the news. And somehow, for whatever reason, I've never been able to really put my finger on it. Aldo and I just totally gravitated to it. And our family didn't even own a car at the time. So there you have it. But Alberto Ascari was a current world champion, you know, when I really fell in love with it. And Aldo and I were fortunate that some friends took us to Monza in 54 to actually witness a Grand Prix, an Italian Grand Prix. And I said this a million times, you know, from there, the mold was cast, you know, there was no plan B. The impossible dream just was born, quite honestly. You know, Alberto Ascari was another one that paid the price. He was killed testing a car for Sebring a month before we left to come here to the States. So again, you know, it was the sport was cruel, you know, in those decades. We all know, but the mark was here. And you know what's amazing? That I was already inducted in the International Hall of Fame. And 2 years later, I was asked to present the induction to Alberto Ascari, to his son, Antonio.
Oh,
Can you imagine that? I mean, the way things evolved, you know, just from the time where, like I said, my dream began, and at Monza, and here I go. I clinched the world championship in Monza, and I won a sports car, you know, the 1,000 Ks in Monza, Alfa Romeo, and I won the Grand Prix, you know. So as you can see, you know, when I look back, you know, I can only be so thankful, and I am, you know, because I could have never ever imagined that all these things could come true for me.
And you're saying that it's just, I don't know how many people, let me preface this by saying, I feel like we kind of have a lazy society these days. So I don't know how many people really know the hardships or are aware of what your family went through just to get to the United States and the reason why you came to the United States. I mean, talking about that race where you saw Ascari take the win, I mean, you were in a refugee camp at the time, weren't you?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yes, I was born in what they call the peninsula, the region of Istria, peninsula of Istria, which after the Paris Pact of 1947, it was annexed, was given to Yugoslavia because obviously Italy lost the war along with Germany, so they had to give away some territory, and that was the one. And we were trapped inside a communist country then all of a sudden, and it was a choice. You know, you succumb to that communism, give everything up, all your possessions. Obviously, my dad, the family owned six parcels, almost 2,100 acres of land, and 6 tenants, and all of that goes back to the state. He said, I'm not going to work for the state. And us, like probably 90% of that population that wanted to remain Italians left. And there were camps set up in Italy, in our own country, all over the place, because part of our family was in Lucca. The other part was south of Florence and Arezzo. Wow. And there, you know, so that was it. And we were there from 48 to 55. 1952, we had maintained correspondence with an uncle that had immigrated here way early, I think in the early 1900s, actually. And he suggested to my dad, I said, why don't you apply for a visa and come to America? I will guarantee what guarantees you have to make, you know, for someone that's applying for residence here. You know, you have to guarantee a job, guarantee, you know, that you're going to have a place to go. And 3 years later, the visas came through. We almost forgot about it. Wow. And my dad says, well, we're going to America and maybe stay there for 5 years, then come back. And, so we came over, and 2 years later, Aldo and I started building a stock car. And actually, 4 years later is when my career started, right here in Nazareth, on a half-mile track, in 1959.
And wasn't it you and some of your school friends, and obviously you and Aldo and some of your school friends who built this together without your parents knowing?
Without, yes, indeed, because as you can see, well, my mom, moms are much, are much, but my dad, I think the language barrier obviously helped us, but my dad obviously he didn't understand the sport, and he just knew about the dangers of it, because as you can see, there were fatalities left and right. I mean. I got to know about Indianapolis when Bill Vukovich won in 1954, and the average speed was over 120 miles an hour, which in kilometers per hour, in Europe it was 200 kilometers per hour. So there was a big headline, and then Bill Vukovich is killed in in 55, just before. And I was saying, oh, Indianapolis, Bill Vukovich, and my dad said, well, they're all going. So we didn't dare. We were underage. At 19 when we started, actually it was illegal because to race professionally, you had to be 21 in those years, insurance and all that sort of thing. Anyway, and so my dad could have stopped us, and I didn't want to take the chance. And we raced in the entire first season without my daddy knowing, and we were winning. Actually, Aldo won. We won the first. Aldo won the first weekend, and I won the following weekend. We had, of course, one car, two drivers, one helmet. And but going back, we had a few buddies, that kind of understood our passion, and one, the geek, knew all the right things. Charlie Mitch. And he's the one that really guided us through. And that we bought information from the Marshall. He was actually one of the Hudson Hudson teams in NASCAR. We paid $500 for the information for all the setups, because we learned that the Hudsons were the ones that were winning pretty much all of the short track dirt races in NASCAR. And that's how we decided to do that, to build our first car, build a Hudson Hornet in 1948, and build it to those specs. And I'll tell you what, it worked for us. So, like I said, we had the right guidance, somehow, we got lucky. We had the right people on our side, and things worked out.
Anything in life requires a little bit of luck. So, yes, I think the world is thankful that you had that luck. And speaking of luck, okay, you were talking about how your parents were very concerned about the dangers, the very real dangers of motorsport. And Aldo had an almost fatality in that year that you guys were very successful. But was that the turning point? Because then your parents had to find out that you were racing because your twin brother is in the hospital. Is that, though, when they said, okay, I get it now, even though Aldo just barely escaped? I get it?
Well, here's the thing. It was the very last race of the season, which was an invitational. It was a 100-lapper in Hatfield, Pennsylvania. And you could only qualify for that if you were in the top 3 in points on tracks that were within 150-mile radius. And so both Aldo and I qualified because we won some races that year. And so anyway, I got a ride with somebody else, with the modified, and our car was actually a Sportsman, but it was fast. So Aldo, was driving our car, and it was a qualifying heat. I already qualified in qualifying heat. He was running second to a guy by the name of Freddie Adams, who was a track champion, and he was qualifying. And I was out there just slowing him down, so because he was really, really going for it. And he hooked the guardrail, and he went end over end, and that was it. I mean, he had a fracture skull, base skull, and they gave him his last rites that night.
Oh.
Yeah, he was in the hospital for I think 57 days, 58, 78 days. He was in a coma for 3 weeks. Yeah,
Oh, jeez.
and
Whoa.
that's how my dad found out that we were racing, and I slept in in the hallway there at the hospital that night, and we had our girlfriends, which later became our wives. You know, that Deanne and Corky. And we just there, and the next day, chief of police come up to me and says, how old is that boy? I said, he's my brother, he's my twin, he's 21. He was 19. But we had our one of the local guys here at the newspaper, the family owned the newspaper. The newspaper had Les Young. That we had him change the birth date on our license, so we could qualify. So the chief looked at that and my license, and he says, yeah, 21, huh? He knows. And later on, we became good friends with this man, with the chief, because I won three. In '63, I won the third feature race of that Labor Day in a midget at Hatfield, and the chief said, I taught him how to drive. I was saying, we became friends. But can you imagine if he would have questioned that date, my dad would have been responsible for, the time that my brother was in the hospital because the insurance would not pay for it.
Oh,
goodness. I don't even want to think about that.
no.
Holy
None of us,
smokes.
again, none of us would be here had that chief of police kind of done his job.
Hey, Mario, which reminds me, I've never asked you this question in your tenure of coming into Speed Freaks. Mario Andretti joining us here in the Freak Nation. Tony Stewart, Jeff Gordon, two guys that dreamed of winning or running and winning the Indy 500, running an IndyCar, that, again, for all intents and purposes, got snubbed and went to stock cars and won championships there. What about you? How did you end up being the open wheel god that you are versus going full-fledged into stock cars?
Well, quite honestly, my objective was always to get into open wheel. And as you can see, when I started, I drove in 59 and 60, in the stock cars, locally, Nazareth and Flemington, 3 different tracks in Mahoney Valley. And immediately when I became legal, 21, the objective was to somehow get into midgets. And the only way to do it, I don't know, the way I figured it out was to get into 3/4 midgets, talking to people and so forth. And then, so I talked Deanne's father at the time. Deanne and I were just going together. Deanne's father to buy me that midget, the midget that was Bobby Marshman was driving, that famous Deuce. That was pretty much, capable to win races, that car. And I had him. He bought it for me, and I ran that midget for a full season, and that. I won actually in Teaneck, New Jersey. I won the 100 lapper there, which was the biggest race of the season for that and the winter season. And I earned myself a ride in a full-size midget with the Mateka brothers, and for an ARDC. ARDC was the top midget club. Had all Len Duncan, Tony Bunny, all those. These are all historically famous, the best midget drivers ever. And anyway, so that launched my career. And then from there, obviously I want to get into sprint cars and then champ cars. That was my objective all the way, because deep down, I always felt that I want to wind up and get my hand into Formula One somehow. And that I was sitting, this is honest, I was sitting in a midget, getting ready to be pushed off for the third feature of the day. I had won 2 features before. In the afternoon, Labor Day '63, Flemington, New Jersey, I won a heat match race in a feature, and about 100, I think almost 150 miles. And the next in Pennsylvania, in Hatfield, there was a early evening race, and I won that. And then there was a rain out feature to be run after that. And while I was getting pushed off on that, I was thinking of Dan Gurney, who just then he got a ride. He was in Formula One. He was one of our driver that was following, sports cars. Actually, you had a guy that was winning, the Motor Trend 500 stock car, and all that stuff. And he was very versatile in sports cars. He got a ride in Formula. And I was thinking Formula One. I'm sitting in the doggone midget on a dirt track. So as you can see, Formula One was already in my brain somehow, and that's it. Then I won some decent races in midgets, and then I got a ride in a sprint car for in a USAC, and then that was with Rufus Gray. It was a good solid ride there, and that was really the ladder system for me. And I felt as soon as I could win, in one of those categories, I wanted to jump to the next. I didn't want to, it's just like going to school. You don't want to repeat the grade. You may you may not make it through the second time. So I was just trying to take advantage of what was happening at the moment. And but again, to answer your question, my objective was get into open wheel, and then the champ cars at the time. Indianapolis and all that. All the rest of it, came as an opportunity later on, with my relationship I had with Ford at the time. At Indy, for my rookie year, I was one of the, we had I ran the Ford double overhead cam engine there, which was obviously the way to go. That's why I won the race with Jim Clark. And I finished third there, of course. But that year, I won the national championship there, my very first year, as a rookie in USAC. So,
jeez, what was the overriding opinion that day from yourself and maybe other open wheel drivers, even Formula One drivers, so their opinion of this stock car series known as NASCAR? Out of the Southeast? Did you guys have high regards for it, or is just something that was happening in the Southeast?
No, absolutely high regards. I mean, those were the years where, the Richard Pettys and, the Pearsons and all those dudes, Yarboroughs. I mean, those are big names that obviously, actually was revered in many, many ways as, one of the top disciplines, to go into. But, it's another one. It's another one of those disciplines that you can do the whole career there and be totally happy and satisfied. That's the thing. It's at that level. It was at that level then, So, look, Richard Petty, he's the king, and he never drove anything else, just, NASCAR. Basically.
But there were some people at the turn of the century. You were driver of the century because of your versatility and your success in so many different levels of motorsport: dirt, asphalt, road course, oval. And Richard Petty wasn't. And some people were like, but he's the king. And people took notice of that and were a little upset.
Well, Crash, the versatility aspect is something very personal. It's something that really, I was curious, I had the utmost respect for all the disciplines, because, each one has got it, there's a specialty, to all of them. And so how do you conquer that? I mean, what are those other guys experiencing? And I had the opportunities, I expressed myself, I want to do it. And some of it I asked, and others I was invited, you know. So, and I don't think I turned anything down. But because, and the main thing is that I knew this, you know, I was, you know, not as smart as I thought I was, but I was smarter than what I thought. I figured, I said, if I got to go somewhere else and try to, you know, to be competitive, you know, at their own game, I better have something that's capable of doing it. And I was fortunate to be with good equipment, you know, whenever I moved on to this you know, in the other area. You know, even in NASCAR, you know, always, I think I had decent equipment, except when I went there for my first 500 with Smokey Yunick. You know, yeah, Smokey, you know, he was a genius you know, in his own right. But you know what, he wanted me there because I was definitely a rookie, and he wanted to experiment with me because, you know, when you get you know, you get a veteran, you know, they want the setups that they know, they're familiar with. But with me, he didn't want me to know anything. He, I couldn't even look at under the hood, you know. And you know that I got an eye for the 500, and I wanted to get fitted up in the seat. He wouldn't let me go up to his garage and say, "See you at the track," because he was afraid maybe I see something that I don't know. You know, he was that secretive. It was really funny, you know, but it wasn't funny at the time, but it's funny now. And when I went out there with that Chevelle, I mean, the thing was quick, but oh man, when I got to the banking, I thought I was on a pogo stick, you know, and he was experimenting with all kinds of weird setups, and I couldn't, you know, if he would not tell me about it. He would not tell me, okay, we have wedge, we have this and that. He said, just drive it, you know, this and that. And I'll tell you what, the following year, the following year, 67, when I finally, you know, I asked Ford, I said, I'd like to do the 500 after, you know, I had won Sebring and all that. And no, I think I won Sebring after that. But anyway, I said, I like to do, I had a good relationship with Ford. And I like to do the 500, so they put me with Holman and Moody. And the first practice that I did with, you know, with my Fairlane, and Ralph Moody was, you know, obviously overlooking the setup with me, and we had a crew chief, Jake Elder. You know, it was really actually a suitcase Jake, but he was really good, and he that's what they call him because he moved around a little bit, but nevertheless, he knew what he was doing, and I mean. We unloaded, and I went out there. I said, "Oh man, I mean, now this is a race car." I thought I died and went to heaven. You know, I said because I was thinking, oh man, I don't know. I didn't, you know, the experience I had, you know, in Smokey's car. I mean, and I knew the banking because I used to do. I tested you know, I would do a lot of testing for a 24-hour. When they were doing 24-hour Le Mans with Ford, I was doing the banking flat, you know, over 200 miles an hour with the sports prototype. So I knew the banking, I knew what the car should feel like. And the stock car, man, you know, with the Smokey Yunick setup, oh my God. I mean, and I figured, man, these guys got to be supermen to be able to drive these things. But when I got in one of Holman and Moody's cars, I figured, oh, now it's a race car. Okay, now now I need an engine because you know it's a long story, but everything worked out in the end because you know, again, we won it.
You brought up Sebring. Do you think, and then you just referenced prototypes at Daytona again, do you think not enough is made of your sports car part of your past? Because yeah, you did win Sebring. You've won several sports car races, and in Sebring, you were driving two different cars.
Well, that's with the Ferrari in '97 with because we were way in the lead with our, you know, there were three team cars Ferrari had, and so I dropped out. It was about around 9:30. We were like 10 laps in the lead or something. It was really amazing. And the third car, both top cars dropped out. The same problem, gearbox problem, because it was a whole new design. And the third car was a year-old coupe, and he was running third at the time, and with Vaccarella Giunti, and when I dropped out, I was getting ready to leave because I was running a sprint car race the next day in Reading, in USAC. So my plane was right there in Sebring, so I said I was giving my goodbyes to the Ferrari group, and Mauro Fergari was the chief engineer. Said, no, wait. I might want to finish the race. I said, oh man. I said, I don't know if the drivers want me to do that. They're running third, and so anyway, he talked me into it, and I asked Giunti. I said, it's okay if I go. He said, no. What could he say? So anyway, I got in the car, and then I was like a man possessed, because what's happening is what I heard, that at one point Peter Revson was driving with what's the name, the actor, Steve McQueen, yeah. And the Steve McQueen was sitting on the wall, and it said, Steve McQueen just took the lead. And oh man, I said, okay, I'm going in there. And like I said, I drove like a man possessed. I think it's the first time that I did first turn flat, and that's it. It was about, and I knew. Oh yes, the other thing is, I knew. They told me, they said you might have to stop for fuel just toward the end, just before the end of the race. It was like he said that maybe you might make it, but the way they had it is that as soon as the red light went on, the fuel light went on, no matter where you were on the circuit, you had to come in. Otherwise, you didn't have another lap. So there were about 7 minutes to go, and after I took the lead, and I put a pretty good, I don't know, about 10, 12 seconds on it. And all of a sudden, the lights come on. And I had to come in, and they just, gave me about 2 liters. But you had to jump out of the car for rule when they were fueling. And I jumped out of the car, and they threw me right back in. And I think I killed about 14 photographers on their way out of the pits. And just when I joined the track, Peter Revson went by me with his Porsche. Oh. And I didn't know how much time I had left, but I chased him down, and I passed him, and but a lap later or something, the race was over. So it was pretty exciting.
Whoa.
Into that race, yeah. Yeah, there's a little book written about it.
A little book.
Sports car history right there. Hey, you brought up, of course, Ferrari, Formula One. We're about to kick off the Formula One season, and you're sitting on the board of directors for Cadillac that's making their way into Formula One. Can you put it in a nutshell, Mario, how this transpired? You're sitting on the sidelines, and then all of a sudden, you're sitting on the board of an eventual manufacturer in Formula One, my friend. Wait,
not all of a sudden.
Well, okay.
Well, here's the thing. It's a long story, but we call it the board of of the team, factor. I don't know if I'm not on the board of directors of Cadillac per se, but I was asked to stay on, and primarily just try to be able to be part of suggesting the driver lineup and all that. That's all I really wanted. I didn't want any other responsibility, because that's really what I would have wanted if Michael stayed on, with the project. Because Michael, and his partner, they're the ones that got everything done with Cadillac and got this to form the team in every aspect of it. I got to make this thing very clear. In my entire career, I never had any really desire to start a team. I had opportunities. All I want to do is drive now, and so. But the fact that Michael was involved in just about a little bit of everything, it gave me an opportunity, to have a home at the track when I go to the races, and that was the best part about it. And this was the same thing in the Formula One. It kept me around. I said, "Hey, Dad, what about this and that?" Okay, I always threw in my opinion, about things. And so when Michael stepped aside, they asked me to, how about you could stay on and maybe sometimes, we can use some guidance, if you will, or some opinions on how to go about things, especially about the driver lineups. So that's really my only function there. But I'm very, very proud of everything that was accomplished up to this point, and the fact that this is a historic moment. That it's the first time in the history of Formula One that General Motors, with the Cadillac brand, that officially they're going to be in Formula One. Now we're still waiting for the ultimate signature, from the FIA, but it's it's imminent because we're going through all the process, whatever it takes, but everything is flat out, that got to be on the grid, next year in 2026, and the good thing what's interesting is the fact that everybody's starting with a clean sheet of paper, chassis, engine. Configuration. So I think it's probably the best opportunity maybe to be competitive, right from the get-go. And so that's what we're striving for. That's what we're striving for.
Mario Andretti joining us here in the Freak Nation again. We're celebrating 25 years. He's celebrating 85 years on Friday.
85 years young.
Yes. But Mario, we've been, of course, a strong proponent of getting an American team involved in Formula One. And of course, the legwork that Michael and his cohorts have done. And then all of a sudden, Michael's out. We didn't like how it went down. How did Mario look at his son getting the backlash of all the legwork that he did to get in Formula One, and now he's out? How does Mario see that?
Well, I mean, it's something you have to talk to Michael about it. He's quite happy with the way the whole thing was reasoned out. There was just some personal things going on that I don't even understand there, with the FOM. So, but it all worked out actually in the best possible way, quite honestly. So that's always look at the positive side. I don't dwell on the negative. And Michael is quite honestly, is quite happy the way things worked out, and that's the main thing. And so, the whole thing is going to go on, and it's happening, and that was the objective at the beginning, and we go on, we go forward.
Mario, when you line up that Cadillac coming up in 2026,
No, it's Ferrari for the first 2 years.
Okay, that was kind of what I'm getting to, right?
Okay.
But when you see that Ferrari for the first time on the track, and again, you being from Italy, and we know your love of Ferrari, what's going to be those emotions for a dude that comes from Ferrari's home country and has watched Formula One grow to the size it is now?
Well, we're all one family. Obviously, those are. Can you imagine the satisfaction somewhere along the line if you're competitive against some, a factory like that? So it's all. That's what the sport is all about. I mean, that's what makes you work harder. When I was driving, there's always somebody better than me out there. Who did I look for? I looked for whoever was up there that I had to beat to be able to win. And that's who made me better, made me work harder. That's the way it works. And so this is going to be the same thing. It's about putting the proper talent together and everything. And we're striving in every possible way. We have. I'm pleasantly surprised as to how many good people have really joined us, even when we had, was a bigger question mark whether we were going to be accepted. But we had faith. We had faith in what we could do, what ultimately that reason will prevail. We worked hard, and we want to be an asset to wherever we go. There's a lot of pride there. And that's what drives us. That's what drives the team. And we look forward to all of these, the competition that the bigger they are, the bigger the satisfaction. So that's the way it is. When I was a driver, the importance of a win was always, who did I beat today? You see what I mean? If when I finished first and say an AJ Foyt, someone like that finished second, that was a hell of a good day. Even when I finished second to guys like that, it was a hell of a good day. But that's how you look at things.
See, Mario Andretti, AJ Foyt, they were the first ones. It wasn't Talladega Nights that came up with the phrase, if you ain't first, you're last. You guys coined it, and the movies just took it.
That's his lingo.
That's right. But even though you're in an advisory role, you're on the Cadillac F1 board, Michael is in an advisory role for the IndyCar side. I mean, is it fair, or can we still consider this entire thing Andretti Global? Because it was the blood, sweat, and tears of the Andretti family that pushed, that persevered to make all this S happen.
Well, we're there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's there's all the passion, everything is still there. So let's just go with that.
Right.
I like that answer.
Holy smokes! All right, Mario. Enough Formula One. Let's get into some champ car. Almost a champ car, IndyCar, and then we'll get the hell out of here.
You don't want to talk about Brian Herta or Colton Herta?
Is Colton Herta going to finally get that freaking seat? This super license stuff is bogus. I'm sorry. You tell me.
Well, it is what it is. You have to deal with it, and but he's going to be all right. I think he knows what he has to do. We all know, and certainly capable. I feel confident that everything is going to work out the way we're anticipating, and there are a couple different options, but the main objective is that it's been from the beginning. So I think we'll be okay.
Good.
IndyCar season 2025 kicking off, of course, St. Pete, Mario. Some things that you're looking forward to this year. A lot of drivers changing teams, team owners getting in the way of other drivers. What's Mario looking for?
Well, there's still basically skin in the game, to some degree. We'll be looking for, the drivers that have been there with the team, the last few years. And that's who I'm going to be rooting for. I'm part of that. I feel part of that. And there's a future here to be looking forward to. Like I said, with Colton, he has a job to do himself because, as you said, we're talking about a super license. A lot of things hinge on his performance. Here in the IndyCar circuit. So, again, good stuff to go after. I mean, a lot of things that that's going to be interesting. There's a lot of anticipation, and that's what makes it all worthwhile. That's why we get up in the morning.
Exactly. Based on what some of the things we've seen from testing, speaking of Sebring, it looks like the parity may even be up again this year. Somebody needs to give Penske and Ganassi a massive run for their money. And it looks like the Shank drivers and, yes, the Andretti drivers are going to be those drivers that we keep our eyes on to do so.
Well, certainly hope so. I mean, I think there's capability there. I think they made some gains. Everybody did. Everybody works hard,
Yeah.
But they feel pretty good that they should be in it, no question. We've seen that in the testing. Everybody's really close. I mean, really, really close. I mean, it's getting to the point that everybody really understands the chassis and all that. So it's this minute things that make the difference, and the experience in the drivers. I think the driver lineup is superb, in my opinion, with our group. So, we can compete with anyone, actually, I feel.
Heck yeah. I can't believe I left out Arrow McLaren in that, but that does remind me of these commercials that Fox has produced for IndyCar that are just mind-blowingly hilarious and
Good
fun.
job.
And yes, a massive job by Fox. What would Mario Andretti's commercial be if you were to have one? What would be some of the things in there that would give us a chuckle?
I would have only our boys there.
What?
They're characters. These kids are characters.
If they did a commercial with Mario and AJ, you wouldn't want to do one?
They can be entertaining. Yeah. Well, sure. I'll do anything with AJ. Yeah. As long as he agrees.
As long as he agrees.
When did you start to be able to outrun AJ Foyt? I mean, on feet. Actually,
I think I could outrun him on foot all the time. Right from the beginning. That's why I dare just touch wheels with him now and then. I think I can always outrun him. But maybe he doesn't. But he was a little older than me, so I think I had a little bit of an age limit. I mean, advantage, I should say.
Nice.
Hey, Mario, with us celebrating 25 years, there are so many memories we have with you. This is a picture of the first time we met you. It was 2002, I believe it was, at a Magnaflow appearance. Look at that.
Oh, boy.
Look at us. Oh, my goodness. I was almost as tall as you.
Right. And now it's like we're gathering around the second coming here. Look at this.
Well, yeah. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. Look at us. I'll be darned.
October 19th, 2002. That's when we used to put dates on pictures.
Look at
Thank
that.
goodness for that.
And then, of course, Freak Nation, who gets Mario Andretti to leave a voicemail? Well, only Speed Freaks.
Hello, this is Mario Andretti. You've reached the offices of Speed Freaks. Leave a message, and I'm sure they'll be happy to get back to you if you take them out to lunch.
Still use it?
We're about to. I just found the son of a gun, man.
That's when we had landlines. We don't have a landline anymore.
Yeah, you can use it.
You've been so amenable, Mario. It's like when the freaks walk in, you know what you're going to get.
Send your contract. You can.
Right.
Yes.
Wow.
No, but you're onto something, Kenny, and it we cannot say it enough. You have been so pleasurable to work with. Like we'll request an interview with you. We'll just request some time to sit with you on carb day at the Indy 500. And you're like, yeah, okay, come on over here. Meanwhile, you're being tugged at in 1,000 different directions. And in this interview alone, other interviews as well, your positivity just exudes from you. Mm-hmm. So to what do you attribute that?
Well, we love the sport. We love everyone that works in it, like all of you. With the press, obviously, the sport would not exist with the press, and anybody that ignores that, they're just stupid, ignorant, and they don't understand. But we're all human beings, and you're there because you have your own passion for the sport, and you contribute it, and it's all part of the family. That's the way I look at it.
Wow.
Well, buddy, it's longer than I expected, but between the three of us, we could talk, my friend. Thanks for staying upright for 45, 50 minutes.
All of us.
I know it. Mario.
We have not even scratched the surface.
I know.
I know.
Jeez. I know. Buddy, listen, as always, Mario, I don't know what to say. I don't know what we can give you, but the praise you deserve is never, we can never give you enough, but thank you for doing this as always.
Right. Okay. Love you guys.
Love you, buddy.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Thank you.